Don't get me wrong.
We just learned that they have euthanized Peanut.
And the raccoon as well.
And the raccoon as well. I am so sorry. This must be really difficult for you.
So ladies and gentlemen, imagine you find a baby squirrel and the mother just passed away. You take the squirrel home, you make an Instagram account, and you become so happy with the squirrel, and some left-leaning people find out.
It not only tears my family apart, but Peanut was the cornerstone of our nonprofit animal rescue. And 10 to 12 DEC officers raided my house as if I was a drug dealer. I was sat outside my house for 5 hours. I had to get a police escort to my bathroom. I wasn't even allowed to feed my rescue horses breakfast or lunch. I was sat there like a criminal. After they interrogated my wife to check out her immigration status, then proceeded to ask me if I had cameras in my house, then proceeded to go through every cabinet, nook, and cranny of my house for a squirrel and a raccoon.
They got a search warrant?
They got a search warrant. 4 departments and a judge signed off on a search warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon.
I find the hypocrisy is wild. Everything for a squirrel. But hey, I can play on the defense. I think I read an article somewhere that said somebody got bitten by the raccoon or something. They thought the animal had rabies. I can get that. But if the owner is still alive after 7 years, maybe you don't have a good point.
And then they took them and killed them.
Why did they go through all that to get a search warrant for an animal that had been with you very safely, and the world witnessed this for 7 years? Why now suddenly did they show up with a search warrant and take these animals?
We haven't a clue. We don't know who made the complaints. Again, Peanut was an indoor squirrel, not harming anybody. He's been with us for 7 years. Not a single complaint was ever filed for this animal. We had him for 7.5 years. He became the world's most famous squirrel. We weren't hiding him by any means. He was all over TikTok. He became the first squirrel on TikTok to ever hit 1 million followers. He did every news station around the world. He's helped people. He's helped kids gather joy. And then we started a nonprofit animal rescue called Peanut's Freedom Farm to help animals like Peanut fight a good fight when they're in a neglected case or they're sitting in a slaughter auction. And he was the cornerstone of our life and our organization. We used his platform to help raise money for the 300 animals we have at our sanctuary.
It's so wild, it's so obnoxious. It feels like a dictator, but the dictator had a son. And he wants to feel the power that Papa had. I mean, there's a reason they all block their Twitter account, because they can't handle the pressure that they're getting from other people, because they are in power and they made the decision. I mean, look at this guy. He's non-partisan. Non-partisan that a baby squirrel is not allowed to live without its mom. Acting New York Commissioner of Environmental Conservation. Yeah, you want to conserve the animal, alright, if it has a mom. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, he's going to do his job alright, because if they're paying you $220,000 a year, whoo, squirrels, I hope you have a mom, because if I find you, you gotta meet your mom. Wait, they spent 5 hours to search their house and check her immigration status? New York ignores the immigration status of thousands and thousands. Yes, yes. Look, man, if you enter my house and be like, we're going to check immigration status when so many people are getting free. It's like, what? You're in here with this raccoon? Let's check your status. We got free hotel. Imagine you find this at your doorstep, so you decide to go check the Ring camera. And then you find out, oh, it's the squirrel that I always give a little food. He came back to give me a little gift. Now imagine the squirrel decide to go in the house and be like, I think you're my family.
Hello. How we doing?
Can I get the first 3 letters of your last name?
Yeah, H-E-N.
And the first 3 letters of your first name?
J-O-R. It may be that may be correct.
And then your house number?
It may be avenues.
Can you confirm your year of birth?
It might be 1985, but it might not.
I'm gonna cancel your vote by mail ballot.
1985?
It might be. I mean, yeah, but it might not be.
Well, what is your birthday?
It's 1985. I'm just saying it might not be. You can't verify it, but I'm just telling you it is.
Okay. Are you? You're gonna sign an oath? You're okay with?
Yeah, I'm gonna sign it up.
That is 1985.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
Great.
I just saying it might not be.
I'm gonna cancel your vote by mail ballot.
You can't see my ID, right? You could just verify my ID, right?
I mean, I take your word for it. It's California.
Exactly. So
So-
might be. Might.
I take your word for it because it's California. What the heck did I just hear?
Might not be.
But if you're
Yeah, I'll sign my oath.
So I just want to ask a quick question, Susan. She asked him. She's a student, so she's
I get it.
learning.
Yeah, I get it.
She asked him if his birthday was 1985, and he said it is.
It definitely
and he
is.
says
Okay.
it might not be.
But it might not be.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Could you want to verify it?
Well, I'm just asking.
So
to
you
be
don't
honest.
ask them if this is their date. You ask them the year.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
Here.
it's at 1985.
It is. Okay. Then
Might not be though.
That's fine. If you're saying it's 1985,
It's
you're gonna
1985.
sign.
Just might not be. I mean,
well,
You can't really verify it.
It checks your signature. So
yeah.
Can you accept
Except
and then sign?
this is definitely me, but it might not be. Here we go. Done. So do you guys verify the signature too that matches the voter ID? The county does. Does it have to match my signature?
Yeah.
What happens if it doesn't match the signature? So they verify it just based on the signature
I think it's only in weird cases.
with
Yeah.
DMV?
If you're already in there and registered and been
twice.
Okay.
it's only in
Got it. All right.
Here's your ballot.
Thank you so much. Cool.
And you
Any of these?
You can't take it
Any
home.
of those.
Oh yeah. Of course. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You would only verify it in weird cases. Okay. What if it's just an illegal migrant? You can't even verify it. I'm just mind blown. California is the most special voting system in US. When I voted in Glendale, I refused to confirm my information was accurate. But the polling officials still had to trust me.
Do you believe me yet?
Bro, Maze, bro. Maze, what are you doing?
That whole sound effect. I can empathize with the kid because it's like, dude, you look like me. Whenever I meet people that don't look like me, I need to act different so they notice that I don't act like you.
I put a lawn sign in my front yard, and I don't think I should be subjected to these fraudulent mailers.
When this 50-year-old Shrewsbury woman put up a Harris wall sign in front of her home, she just wanted to show her support. She never imagined she would be subjected to a campaign dirty trick.
It really creeped me out.
She was dismayed when the mail arrived this week and she received this postcard. It purports to be from the Harris campaign, thanking her for putting up a sign and alerting her a family from Nicaragua would be moving into her home.
That's when I realized it was an obvious attempt to try to either scare me or rage bait me and make me upset.
It's absolutely a scare tactic.
I can understand she can see it as a scare tactic, but in the end, it actually means if you wish something for somebody else, you should also be able to wish it for yourself.
We need a secure border. It's a significant issue. And if I thought there was any kinds of issues, and I've been very vigilant throughout, I've been actively involved in those kinds of things, and I've never witnessed those kinds of a thing.
What do you mean by issues? Like what kind of issues are you talking about? You talking about people letting people in order to get votes?
Well, it's not. There's not that level kinds. I don't think there's that level kinds of organization.
But there is an organization that's moving these people to swing states. There's a significant number of these people that are illegal immigrants that have made their way to swing states. And then there's been calls for amnesty. There's been calls for allowing these people to have a pathway to citizenship and allow them to vote. The fear that a lot of people have is that this is a coordinated effort to take these people that you're allowing to come into the country, then you're providing them with all sorts of services like food stamps and housing and setting them up, and then providing a pathway to amnesty, and then you would have voters that would be significantly voting towards the Democrats because they're the people that enabled them to come into the country in the first place and provided them with those services. This is a big fear that people have, and that you're rigging this system and that this will turn all these states into essentially locked blue like California is.
All I have to say is this. I'm so tired when people tell me people are not making babies anymore in first world countries. And like, yeah, because the prices are so high. Maybe focus on lowering the prices and people will make babies instead of importing people to work for the same salary. No, even lower. I'm like, come on, man.
Well, immigration is always going to be a tough issue in our nation. You know, I had, as a professor in grad school, Alan Simpson, and he was a United States senator. He was Wyoming, and he was actually a pro-choice Republican. I mean, how rare that would be. Well, it doesn't exist now. And he said, you are never going to have any meaningful immigration kinds of legislation. He's like, because both sides, that's useful for them, and it's going to be back and forth. And he said that 25 years ago.
Useful meaning the debate, having it always a political
it's
talking
useful
point.
for one side or the other. It's
Right.
useful, and he said there were never going to be, and he said that in 1999, and I voted for the border deal, and that went down. And that's, I mean, he said that 25 years ago, and that was absolutely true now, that they had an opportunity to do a comprehensive border, bipartisan, and that went down because Trump, he declared that's a bad deal after it was negotiated with the other side.
How do you make the world believe your poop doesn't stink?
But didn't that deal also involve amnesty? And didn't that deal also involve a significant number of illegal aliens being allowed into the country every year? I think it was 2 million people.
I love it so much that Joe Rogan is calling it out. Stop saying people didn't want a deal. Start talking about all the things you added hidden in the deal, in the description, the small letter, why the big word the deal wasn't signed. It's all obfuscation.
It was still the same sort of situation, and their fear is exactly what I talked about, that these people will be moved to swing states, and that will be used to essentially rig those states and turn them blue forever.
Well, I'm not really sure if that's what's in play. I think it's really it's important that we have an honest conversation.
But doesn't that seem logical, though? If you have a significant number of people that are being moved into swing states that have come across the border illegally, and then you've provided them with all these services, you provided them with food stamps, EBT, you've provided them with housing. You could, if you gave those people amnesty and allowed those people to vote, and it was very organized. You're talking about 75,000 votes over a few counties that switched everything over to the Republicans. You could see how you import 10 million people over the course of 4 years illegally, and then move a significant number of them to swing states, and then provide them with all these services, and then give them a path to citizenship. You could essentially rig those states.
Undeniably, immigration is changing our nation. I mean, I haven't spent a lot of time in Texas, but it's very clear that immigration has remade Texas, and I think it's generally for a good.
Immigration? No, illegal immigration. And I thought it was interesting. The whole podcast, he sounded okay until he had to talk about immigration. I'm not laughing at his stutter. It's just that he knew he was talking shit. And I knew he was stuttering because he couldn't even look at Joe Rogan's working eye. And I want to look at my working light.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde kush hash purple skunk criollo colombici jam jam. Durlo que ta berdetta welcome.